How to win the race for the moon. 2091-2030. 1020 NASA CNBC. 60. 1030 CMCO 2030. 2026 CS CSLV. 20249. A basic model to be built by 2035 in the lunar South Pole region, and an extended model to be built by about 2050. Per the blueprint, the extended model will be a comprehensive lunar station network that utilizes the Lunar Orbit Station as its central hub and the South Pole Station as its primary base, and it will include exploration nodes on the lunar equator and the far side of the moon. Wu also revealed that the planned ILRS will be powered by solar, radioisotope, and nuclear generators. It will also include lunar Earth and high-speed lunar surface communication networks, as well as lunar vehicles like a Hopper, an unmanned long-range vehicle, and pressurized and unpressurized manned rovers. Chinese sources have also mentioned the possibility of China building a small space station for lunar orbit, like the Artemis Program Gateway Space Station. These sources have also suggested that this lunar space station would be built at Earth-Moon Lagrange Point 1, which would facilitate constant contact and resupply of Chinese moon bases. Such an infrastructure on the moon, according to Wu, will be capable of laying a foundation for manned landings on Mars in the future and an expandable, maintainable system capable of long-term robotic operations with short-term human participation. As the People's Liberation Army controls all Chinese space activities, it is to be expected that the Chinese military will quickly use its expanding manned moon bases to secure cislunar space, or the region between the Earth and the Moon, to counter current passive and future U.S. active military space assets, with an EM-L1 lunar space station ideally suited for denying access to the Moon. As such, it is indeed essential for the freedom and security of Americans and all democracies that NASA devise and implement a plan that fulfills Trump's goal of returning Americans to the moon before China, and to win the race to build a dominant presence on the moon that gives the U.S. president options to deter and deny CCP attempts to dominate the moon. This will be a principal task for aerial entrepreneur and commercial astronaut Jared Isaacman, whom Trump renominated on November 4th to become the 15th Senate-confirmed NASA administrator. In a move that will assist Isaacman's leadership, apparently also at Trump's request, on October 20th, Duffy announced that NASA would reopen competition for the contract to build the Human Landing System, or Manned Moon Landing Vehicle, for the Artemis III manned moon mission scheduled for 2027 or 2028. The main reason for doing so was the determination that Elon Musk's SpaceX Corporation, which won the HLS contract for Artemis III in 2021, was not meeting its goals to build the HLS in time for Artemis III. Also on October 20th, Duffy stated he was open to solutions from SpaceX and from Jeff Bezos's Blue Origin company, saying, "Whatever one can get us there first to the moon, we're gonna take. And if SpaceX is behind, but Blue Origin can do it before them, good on Blue Origin. But by the way, we also might have two companies, and that can get us back to the moon in 2028. Time constraints may dictate that Artemis III retain the current $2 to $4 billion per mission NASA Space Launch System, which will only bring the manned Orion spaceship to lunar orbit. Still, the reopening of the HLS competition means that Isaacman has options to devise a far less expensive U.S. architecture for returning to and occupying the moon. On October 30th, SpaceX responded to the controversy with a rare public update on its webpage that stated the following: SpaceX's HLS team has completed 49 milestones tied to developing the subsystems, infrastructure, and operations needed to land astronauts on the moon. Starship provides unmatched capability to explore the moon. Cargo variants of the Starship lander will be capable of landing up to 100 metric tons directly on the surface, including large payloads like unpressurized rovers, pressurized rovers, nuclear reactors, and lunar habitats. Starship continues to simultaneously be the fastest path to returning humans to the surface of the moon and a core enabler of the Artemis program's goal to establish a permanent, sustainable presence on the lunar surface. But with the successful second mission first stage recovery on November 13th of Blue Origin's New Glenn space launch vehicle, and the November 20th announcement by Blue Origin that its NG 3 mission will have a more powerful second stage capable of moving 20 tons to the moon. NASA has options here. Blue Origin's NG-3 mission is scheduled for early 2026 and will transport the 21-ton unmanned Blue Moon Mk1 moon landing vehicle on its Pathfinder mission, with the capability of taking 3 tons of cargo to the moon. Blue Moon Mk1 will be the predecessor to the larger Blue Moon Mk2, which will be able to take 20 tons of cargo to the moon, but may not be ready until the early 2030s. However, if SpaceX is truly judged unable to meet a 2027 or 2028 goal, then there is the option to rapidly modify the Blue Moon Mk1 to accommodate at least 2 astronauts, with the goal of putting Americans on the moon before 2029. The Artemis 3 SLS could then take 3 astronauts in the Orion spaceship. However, at less cost, subsequent astronaut transport missions could be accomplished with the SpaceX Falcon Heavy and a moon mission-modified SpaceX Dragon manned spaceship. SpaceX HLS-100 2021 2.5 ML1 Navigation Gateway